Three things that are practical business lessons that I learned from looking at the Purim story. So, good and bad are the same. We grow up thinking that situations that we want are good and situations that we don't want are bad. And so if you look at the Purim story, you just look at just a few quick examples, right? Vashti being killed, right? The queen of the entire country that you live in, the kingdom that you live in, being killed, bad, right? Killing is bad. Esther, an innocent Jewish girl, taken by the king's men against her will, forced to marry Achashverosh, disappears for a year, right? Not a place for a Jewish girl to be living in the castle behind these secured walls. Bad, right? If you were living in Shushan and you're seeing this happen, you're thinking, this is not good. This is bad. Haman decides to kill all the Jews, right? Very clearly bad. Mordechai, seriously, just salute Haman. Act like you tripped something. Why are you not bowing down to him? Even the Gemara tells us that the Jews were unhappy with Haman. They were like, why are you doing this? It's clearly bad what he was doing. But yet we know that each one of these things, if Vashti wasn't killed, Esther wouldn't have been put in the palace. If Esther wasn't put in the palace, she wouldn't have been in the position to save the entire Jewish people. If Mordechai wasn't bowing down to Haman, then Haman wouldn't have decided to kill the Jews. And if Haman didn't decide to kill the Jews, the entire Purim story wouldn't have happened. So everything that looks bad was actually key steps of what's good in order for that to happen. And on Purim, the inyan, the mitzvah that we talk about all the time, chayev inish libisu mei, until when? Until when is a person supposed to be libisu mei? Ad lo yada, what? Until a person doesn't know what? Ar Haman baruch Mordechai. Until a person doesn't know the difference between good and bad. Because the essence of Purim is about v'nahabachu, that what you think is one, what you think is bad, is actually good. What you think is good is not any different than what you think is bad. They're all of one in the same. So until you no longer see things as good as bad, they're all one. It's the meaning that we're giving to something that makes us feel or appear that it really is good or really is bad. And in every situation, not just the Purim story, we have, in our own individual stories, have to see things as good and bad, or actually not good or bad. They're the meaning that we give it. And that is that they're all the same. And as soon as you see Hashem in the story, which is the whole concept of Purim, is that you don't see Hashem as Haster Panim. But as soon as you see Hashem in the story, in something that seems bad, all these things, when you put God in and you realize, it actually is good. The same is true in our own individual situations. The second one is, in business, all stress is self-manufactured. All stress. That's a pretty crazy thing to say, right? How's that possible? So it's created when you give a meaning to a situation. And business is full of situations that really matter, right? It's high stakes. It makes a significant difference. So when things go wrong, it's easy to see them as going wrong, right? Dishonesty, losing employees, can't find or retain talent, issues with sales, expensive marketing that's not delivering results. But what if you could totally think about you're running your business and the way that you approach your business in a totally different way, where you realize, you know what? Anything that's not going right, it's the meaning that I'm giving to it, not the thing itself that's creating that stress. So when you look at the Purim story, you realize that all of the pain that you're listening to as the story goes on or the struggle, if you really put yourself in the shoes of the people in Shushan, it's because people felt there was stress. It was self-created. And the tension, the excitement that is tension, by the way, that's released, right? The buildup of tension, when you release that's the joy of excitement. That's where the pleasure and the fun, the liveliness, the energy in life comes out. So the buildup of all the tension and stress and worry in the Purim story is what led to this amazing celebration in the ninth parak of the Purim story. But the stress itself was self-manufactured because they couldn't see the difference between good and bad. And last, I want to actually two more things. So quickly, one is influence, right? So if you think about how Esther made her deal, how did she make her case? Because she had to sell Achashverosh on something. So what she had to do is, she didn't start out going for the clothes, she started out going for the influence. And you want to ask someone for a small favor first, and then you ask them for a second small favor. And by the way, Robert Cialdini, he wrote a number of books about influence, and he said that they did research, and they found that if you want to influence someone to do something that you want, for example, let's say it's fundraising, you want donations, or let's say you want someone to promote something of yours, or you want someone to buy something of yours. He said, they ran around, they had people, they said, would you wear this pin that just says, support the organ transplant foundation? And people are, sure, sounds good, it's a good cause. And then they went up to them and they said, well, would you fill out a questionnaire about what your thoughts are on this? And then they asked them another small thing and another small thing. And then they asked them and said, hey, would you make a donation? And almost every single one of those people made a donation. But if they started and went for the close at the beginning, like Esther, if she went to like Achashverosh and said, Achashverosh, I know you didn't call me. I know you didn't expect to see me. I know you could kill me for showing up here. Can you please kill Haman? She probably would have been killed, right? So she had to go for the influence first. Ask for a little bit, then ask for a little bit, then ask for a little bit, and then you go for the close. Fear. Last one is fear, right? Fear is bad, right? So here's how fear played a role, just very quickly. If Mordechai feared Haman, he would have bowed to him, and the whole Purim story would have probably never happened. If Esther listened to her fear, she would have never gone to Achashverosh. She would have she had to feel that fear, and she had to do it anyways, because she had to have a better, more empowering story about what she needed to do and what the value of it, the importance of it. And that had to be stronger than her trying to stay safe and listen to her fear. So, hope you had enjoyed this. Chag Purim Sameach.